Hello, good evening and welcome to my home on Modern Railway, Bedstead Junction. Tonight we're going to have a look at a new sets of points I've actually put in here. Now, what I've done is I've replaced my old Pico points with a sets of Hornby points here. And we're going to see if we got any major difference here. And what I've also done is I've taken out the straight piece of track just after the curve, okay? Which just lets my sidings fit in a little bit more tightly on my layout, okay? And we're going to try it now just to see if it makes a difference. Now, if it successfully goes round the point and straight onto the straight into the siding, then I think we've largely solved our problems. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put her into forward gear now, and we'll just watch this one go in. Oh, this is a Hornby B2 Peckett locomotive, Henry, Port of Bristol Authority, which I reviewed just a few nights ago. So I can refer you back to that one if you want more details about it. But what we're going to do is we're going to see how we get on now with these points. Okay, so let's just bring them in nice and slow, as the shunting engine, of course. There we are. So we're straight over the points there. No problem at all. Okay, so Henry seems to be doing very, very well up into the siding there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to try Henry going backwards out of the junction. Perfect. Okay, now the next one is probably the biggest challenge, is going from a right hand point into a left hand point. So we're going to be taking it down into the station halt. So we'll just change the points over here, and then we'll just see how we get on with that. I think what we'll do is we'll reverse it back just a little bit more, let it get a run up, and then we'll watch it go over the points now, and then we can see if we're at least got something we can actually run and use now. So here we go. There we are. It appears to have negotiated those points all right now. Just want to watch that it just doesn't run off the end of the siding. That's perfect. Okay. So we've got our locomotive into here now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be completing our running session by putting another train on, just for a moment. So we're just going to switch over to this part of the track here, and we're going to we're going to put our Henry back. I think what we'll do before we do that, we'll put our Henry back into the freight terminal. So we'll just do that now, and then we can just see again. We'll watch it reverse out. Here it comes. Now, one thing I will say about this particular locomotive, this Hornby Henry B2 class locomotives, it gives us an illustration really of how far things have come. Okay, controllability, smoothness. Yes, it does negotiate the points once you've got you've got proper decent points put in. Okay, so really very, very happy with this particular locomotive. I mean, yeah, I've run it on my, like I said, on my review the other night, and it ran very well on there. And we're just going to bring it back into the goods shed. We can watch it go over this set of points one more time. Okay, so now that is perfect. Okay, so I can happily run my my Henry now on all parts of this layout. I've tried it on the other Hornby points as well, and it's perfectly fine. So what we're going to do now then, we're just going to move across to here. We'll change the points in favour of the other siding in just a moment. And there's something else which we need to ascertain. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop this 060 pannier tank onto the tracks. That's it. Okay, so now let's have a look. Which one am I looking at now? Yes, that's the composite coach. That looks good to me. And we've got the brake coach. This is a pair of basically mainline or replica railways are the same 60-foot collet coaches in BR Maroon. And these coaches I went through a period of time where they derailed quite a lot. So we're going to see now if we've made any positive difference with this now. Now obviously it's going into that siding, which is a test for any locomotive and set up. We'll just go up nice and slow now. I don't know if we covered up. We'll see if we have. We have. Okay, so that's our lovely pannier tank going around the siding now. And next time you see it, it should be going round into the siding over here. Slow her down a little bit now. Okay, well that appears to be my sorry, actually to be my pannier tank in position now. So that would appear to be a success. So we managed to get two different trains, 060 trains, over that junction, complete with the train, with none of the train derailing. So that to me looks like a pretty good success. We're happy with that. Now what we're going to do is we're running a few trains tonight for a quick running session, so we're getting as much as we can. Now I think what we'll be doing is we've got these two locomotives down here. We've got the 062 tank engine and the Dean Goods tender engine. The one that's in the front, the green GWR, is a mainline locomotive. And the one just beyond it is the Hornby one, the tender powered Dean Goods. Okay, so and again we can have a look and see how these actually run. So what we're going to do, and without any further ado, I think we're going to do a few laps of a few of my trains. I think what we're going to have a go at first of all is our replica mainline stroke replica railways pannier tank engine. We'll just see how we go with that. Okay, if you want to come back out of the station, just see what it's like. Over the points. Now bear in mind, this locomotive here is a split chassis locomotive, okay? And really, as a lot of these earlier locomotives, I mean this one's from the mid-1990s, and its actually origins would have been pre-1984. Really, mechanically wise, I think it's the same as the mainline one, and mainline stopped making engines in 1984. We'll just see now how we go. Ah, there we are. So just we're rolling around the track now. We're not a bad little runner. These little mainline ones are a little bit noisier than the Hornby. I mean, the Hornby was perfectly quiet going round. You can probably hear the motor and the gears going. I don't think it's a bad runner, to be honest. And I think those mainline coaches as well, considering they're quite an old design, they're quite nice too. We can imagine this one whizzing down the little branch line somewhere, putting its passengers in, and maybe going into a halt. Okay, I'm not going to go too deep into the description of these locomotives. I'm going to let this one come round again just one more time. Look at that, really nice that. Now, I think with the cost of locomotives, the way that things are going at the moment, I mean, some of these locomotives that I bought here now are beginning to look like quite a bargain, to be truthful with you. I bought this one brand new in the mid-1990s. Now, in today's money, yes, it would have come out about the same as what you might pay for a tank engine today. I think with inflation and everything else, I think what's happened is that prices have just been catching up with inflation over the years, and some of us coming back into the hobby have been quite shocked as to how much things cost today. Just one of those things, really. We're going to bring him right in now. This is our little pannier tank here, and that was a replica railways pannier tank with the mainline stroke replica railways coaches on there too. Nice little setup that. Okay, so we're going to come round off the junction now and just see how we get on again. Now, for an engine from sort of the mid-1990s with the design sort of set back from the 1980s or 70s even, I think that's quite a nice little controllable locomotive there, and it went over the points quite well without racing away. I quite like that, and that was quite a controllable little run. Now, we've seen the Peckett go around the tracks, and I think if you want to see the Peckett run again, I think maybe you might refer you back to my previous video on that one, which you can look up. I've done the Peckett B2 as a full review. What I'm going to do now is we're going to try another one of these locomotives. We'll be having a mini running session just to test our points out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try the Dean Goods out, I think. This is the Hornby Dean Goods. Again, I did a review of this one, so again, for a more full description, I refer you back to my my previous review. So now this one is in BR black, and one of the ways in which it topped the Dean Goods. I mean, I had an Oxford Rail Dean Goods which got killed by those points over there that I've changed now, and that was it. I wanted to change those points, so I couldn't risk any more derailments. I couldn't risk ruining any more locomotives, not for the sake of the price of a couple of points. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take this one out. Here it goes. Now, bear in mind, again, this one is a Hornby one from about the year 2001, I think. So it's about 20 years old, this locomotive. And very much it's kind of its heritage goes back to mainline. I think this one's very much like the mainline locomotive, in that it's tender powered, and there's a lot of gears in that tender. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit noisier than a modern locomotive, but you'll see again, it's quite a nice little runner. You just saw it reverse out of the station there quite well. And away we go. Again, I think I paid a lot less than you would for the Oxford Rail Dean Goods for this. It's a second-hand locomotive. One thing I always do is if I buy a second-hand locomotive, I'll always check that it's described as a runner. So I've got some kind of comeback should it not work. Okay, if it don't say it runs, then you're taking a chance, aren't you? Okay, so I always check in the description it runs, and it did. It ran straight out of the box. You can see it now. It's going around the track quite well there. Very nice little runner again. Now, what the future is for my Oxford Rail one, I do not know. I mean, I was wrong about it being the motor on my other locomotive repair I did. That was the 440 county class. I can remember me trying to get a motor for that one because I thought it was the motor gone wrong. And suddenly the old thing sprang back into life after I did a bit of experimentation with a piece of wire. But I think with this, with the Oxford Rail Dean goods, I think this one is, with the motor, this one is terminal, because I have tried putting power directly to the motor and it doesn't spin. So I'll probably be looking for a new motor for that one. I have tried Oxford Rail, but I didn't get a reply when I emailed them. So I cannot see anybody who lists them anywhere, not a motor for one of those. So we're going to be, for the foreseeable future anyway, we'll be running this lovely little Hornby. Been good. Now as you can probably hear, it's a little bit more noisy than a more modern offering. Like I say, that's because there's a fair amount of gears whizzing round in this tender. Do I mind tender powered locomotives? Personally, not at all. I mean, I was kind of brought up on them really in many ways, and so you know, from my early days of being involved with modern railways. As you can see, there's a nice little runner, this one. And we're going to be putting over now into the signal. We can see how this one goes over the points now. And again, these points here are new Hornby points, and well, newish anyway. And I've not had very much trouble with these points at all, so that's why I decided to go with Hornby next time. I mean, for those who are sort of fans of Pico and Pico points, well, you might be saying, well, no, that no, the Picos are good. I don't know. I mean, the ones that I took out were about 20 years old, so what a modern Pico point might be like, I don't know. But like I say, I've been getting on right with these Hornby points at the moment, and so that's what I've actually got on my layout now, is all Hornby points. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring them into the station, and again, you've got like a kind of a double curve really. I mean, it's going into a right hand point followed by a right hand point, and then a left hand curve. Okay, so we'll just see how this one actually handles this particular part of the layout. So we'll just bring it forward now. And you can see over those points, easy peasy lemon squeezy, beautiful. Okay, and round that curve there, it's a bit more power maybe for the curve, and okay, I can't see a lot wrong with that, can you? Not bad at all, considering we're talking about a 20-year-old locomotive, okay, and I think it owns its mechanical heritage to the main line version which came before it. Okay, now this one down here is an interesting locomotive. It's an 062 tank engine, and it differs greatly from the Prairie tank. It's because it's an 062, it's not just a Prairie tank with the front wheels missing. It's got inside cylinders, and it was made especially for the Welsh coalfields. Okay, and I'm going to do a little change of points now. Now this one, when I got it, it was described as a runner, but it did need a fair amount of work to get it going well. And you have to bear in mind that this locomotive is at least 37 years old, so it could be over 40 for all I know. But just watch it coming out of the station now. There we go. You'll see her coming rather gracefully out of the station there. Now this one was troublesome on points. I could literally, it wouldn't go over any of the points on my layout at one point. I must admit, on the old other set of points, on the right hand left hand combination, it will go over it, but it does clonk a lot. So I'm looking back into the gauge, and we can see it handled that quite well there. And you watch it come into the station in just a moment as well. But everything really on this layout now is very much improved. Okay, so just watch this one come round now. Okay, and again, a little bit more noisy than the more modern offerings, I know, but not a bad little runner and quite an attractive locomotive too. And that's one thing about these old mainline locomotives. I mean, I think this whole thing carried on into the replica railways of Batman era. That you know, mainline and then replica railways and then Batman. They always knew how to make an attractive locomotive, okay, or make these models look attractive, and this one looks very attractive in my opinion. Okay, you can see it going around now quite well. It's nowhere near as noisy as it was when I first bought it. I had to take it completely to pieces. The disadvantage of a split chassis locomotive, which this one is, and the pannier tank, is that they're more difficult to convert over to DCC if you wish to go down that route. But if you're going to be staying with analog, okay, then these locomotives can represent quite a bargain. And I know you're going to hear some people shout, "Was you know?" We saw some reviewers get a whole class for 55 quid, or you know, brand new from Hattons. Well, I'm afraid that isn't going to be happening anymore. The last time I saw a Hornby Railroad Hall class on the internet for sale, it was for £129. That's how much they were asking for it. Way above the price of what it was when it was new. So prices have really gone a little bit. I think they're getting a little bit crazy now on things. So these little locomotives, I mean, you can pick these up for what, 35, 50 quid, something like that. I got mine in a good box and everything, so I was willing to pay a little bit extra for that. And it came with all the instructions as well, complete with everything else. So it's worth paying extra for that. But as you can see, this lovely little 062 tank engine is running quite well now. Now, even though they're originally designed for coal engines, these were used on passenger engines. Okay, so we've got our lovely little mainline coming round now. We're going to run it round one more time. And you can see it, you can get a nice little runner from a split chassis locomotive. I know a lot of people are criticising because of the axles. I'm saying that's a weak point of them. Well, it is on some of them. I have had axles go on one of my locomotives. I was able to get replacements. And that one, even though it's not on the track tonight, I mean, it is running perfectly now. So you can get the replacement axles for this. And as long as you practice the quartering, which is, as long as you sort of look at another locomotive for reference, how the quartering goes, you can usually get once you've got the hang of it, I think quartering's not such a bad little job to do. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to bring this one to the station. And we'll watch her come in now. Now bear in mind, this one never used to even go over this set of points at all. So again, this represents a big step forward for it. Okay, in it comes. You see a little bit of a clonk going over the points, I know. But it's going a lot better than it was. A lot more controllable. What I've done on this particular one is I took it completely to pieces. Now, that is not such a bad job on a split chassis locomotive, because when you've got the body off, you've basically got about three major parts: the two halves of the chassis with some insulators, and the motor is bolted directly on top. Nice and easy, eh? Okay, so that's all. I'll leave it now. Okay, so you've seen all our locomotives going now. Now we're going to have a little grand finale now for this before we finish up, and this is going to be our lovely little packet going round as a celebration of its running over the going over all the layout now and points. So there's no area of my layout now which is taboo for this locomotive now. Oh, and I'll explain to you one thing I have done to this one, and I will be doing it to a fair number of my locomotives. I'll show you. Might not be able to get focus on it, but you might be able to see what I mean in just a moment, what I've done. Okay, so here's our lovely packet coming out now. Nice and slow, beautiful control on this. Like I say, this is probably an example of how far locomotives have come. I mean, model railway locomotives, that amount of you know, it's quiet, controllable. Do I think there's a place on my layout for these older models that we've been running tonight? Yes, definitely. It's meant that I can expand my fleet for a fraction of what it might have cost otherwise if I'd have bought all new locomotives. Okay, so away we go. Our Peckett B2. Going triumphantly round the layout tonight. Now what we're going to do is we're going to wind things up in a minute because I need to get myself back downstairs. I've recorded the Hornby programme tonight. For those of you who haven't seen the Hornby documentary, it's on the SOD channel at 9 o'clock on Mondays, and there is an episode tonight, and if you miss it you probably should be able to get that on catch up. Okay, very much worth watching, gives you a good insight into what goes into the design of Hornby products, and you know, if this is an example of what Hornby are achieving, then well, you know, they've I think it's certainly hitting the mark with this one anyway, with this B2 locomotive. Now what I've done is, because all of my coaching stock, everything has got wide couplings on, okay, and a lot of the couplings are built into the bow gears and that sort of thing. You know, they're not interchangeable like modern M couplings. I've actually been swapping out. I don't know if we can get focus in on this now, but we'll try. Let's get that out there like that. This is a, there we go, you just about to see that now. That's a narrow coupling which was on my B2. Again, it might be a bit blurry, but oh, there we go, it's focusing there now. I've actually swapped that out for a medium-sized coupling, okay, and I found that the coupling is much more easier with some of my older stock which I've got on my layout. I'm going to keep these little NEM couplings. What I do is I just take them to the side of the thing, just in case I ever have to sell any of these locomotives, and then if a new owner can always revert back to the narrow NEM couplings if that's what they want to do. But I have changed out some of these narrow NEM couplings now, just to make it a little bit more compatible with some of this older rolling stock. Okay, so there we are. That's my lovely Peckett locomotive going round at a very sort of Pecketty pace. If that's such a thing. Okay, going around at a very nice little pace. I think it's quite the right sort of pace for it. Okay, now I should bid you farewell and good night, and if you like what you see, press like, subscribe and ring that bell for further videos. And again, thank you very much for watching, and good night.